Hi, everyone. Welcome to the benefits open enrollment Q&A. Thank you guys if you joined in yesterday and we had some technical difficulties, but today we're going to go ahead and answer any questions that you might have. I do want to go ahead and say at the outset that any questions regarding the vaccine mandates, things like that, we're going to try to keep those to a minimum unless they're specifically pertaining to the benefits. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Tony Caparella and Brent Wiesner, and we'll go ahead and start asking you guys questions. So our first question comes from Mike, and it says, if on short-term disability, a loss of license, or long-term disability, what paycheck deductions are taken out of your check? I.e., is it VEBA, Top Hat, or all deductions suspended?
So when you receive the short-term disability benefit or the long-term disability benefit or loss of license, there are no deductions that come out of any of those payments to you. But there are deductions taken out of any sick leave use that you're using. So NEC is also done off of your sick leave use and 401k if you have it going in there.
Okay, this is from Dan. He says, I will return from Exto in November and currently have Exto long-term disability. What and when do I need to enroll in STD and LTD after I return from Exto?
So you have 30 days to enroll in STD or change your LTD from the date at which you return off of EXTO.
But if you had STD before you went out and LTD, then you're automatically enrolled in those same plans that you had before going out if you don't do anything.
Okay, we're waiting on any other questions that might come through, but I did want to, if you haven't had a chance to take a look at the video that we published yesterday, we did publish a video of the presentation yesterday that did have a lot of good information, so I would encourage you to go onto the SWAPA website and take a look at that if you have any other questions with regard to that. Do we have any other questions?
Up at the front. Thanks.
From any attendees? You can type it in the chat Q&A if you have any. So can you guys go over where to find their deductions on their paychecks? I know we don't have the presentation up, but could you just kind of give them a rough estimate of where they could find that?
Yeah, absolutely. On the right-hand side of your paycheck, preferably the 20th paycheck, you'll see Pilot STD, Pilot LTD right underneath that. It's about midway down from all the elections. And then down below under imputed income, if you have non-taxed LOL, it would be under swag taxable imputed, and it would say non-taxable LOL. The reason why I say the 20th paycheck is because Pilot STD, your short-term disability, is taken out of your 20th paycheck. Your LTD is taken out of both your 5th and your 20th paycheck. And one big thing to note really quick on your non-taxable LOL, it'll show a current amount, but it's under imputed income. You're not paying that $200 or $300, whatever you see in that column. You're actually just paying the taxes on that amount, and that's important to note.
Okay, we have a question from Mike. Do I need to burn all my sick time before LOL kicks in?
You don't necessarily need to burn all of your sick time. It's your total sick bank divided by 95. So if you have 1,000 sick trips, your last day of pay would be approximately 10.5 months. That's when LOL would start. You don't necessarily need to burn that before LOL begins. So your sick trips, total sick trips divided by 95 equals the number of months until loss of license starts.
Okay, I have another question. Is there going to be an offer of LOL from Peterson, and is it worth it for captains?
So there is a open enrollment going on right now for the voluntary loss of license. And it doesn't matter if you're a captain or an FO, it really matters how much money you made in the last 2 years to determine whether it's worth it for you or not. So obviously, if you're maxing out the loss of license at $11,500 and you're maxing out long-term disability, which in 2022 will be $13,500, you know you're already getting $13,500. So however much money on top of that you think you need to live is what you should look at as possible benefits from voluntary loss of license.
Okay, we got this question yesterday, but one of the things that was sent in was that I understand MetLife will mail out forms for us to fill out if we choose to change our benefits. I started a 4-day trip today, and as of yesterday, I haven't received the mailing. What will be the provision if we do not receive the mailing in time prior to the deadline?
So if that pilot emails the benefits, we can send them the actual enrollment form, or you can go onto SWAPA website, and right on the front there should be a link to put you to the aeromedical benefits website where you can click on the form, fill it out, and then send it in to the OE enrollment email at the bottom of the first page.
Thanks for that, Tony. Okay, if our sick leave bank has been depleted, would it be wise to switch from STD Plan A to the lower cost STD Plan B? In other words, are there differences between Plan A and Plan B to consider, except for the sick leave bank?
Yeah, absolutely. If you run out of sick bank, it would be beneficial for you in the sense that you'll save about over $30 a month in premiums. The reason being is Plan A and Plan B both have a 30-day elimination period. Whereas Plan B, if you have a couple hundred sick trips, you wouldn't start short-term disability until you exhaust all of that sick leave, where Plan A is just 30-day elimination. So if you have nothing in your sick bank, then Plan B is just as good as Plan A because it's going to start at 30 days elimination period. And you're going to save a couple $100 throughout the year.
Okay. And how do I pay for VLOL? It's not on my paycheck.
So voluntary loss of license, the product was brought to the pilot group by SWAPA, but once the pilot signs up for the policy, it is between you and Peterson International. SWAPA does not have their finger in it anymore. And so they will take your credit card or your money out of your bank every month, and you'll work that out with them when you actually sign up for it. So you'll never see it on your Southwest Airlines pay stub.
Okay. And how long does the company's loss of license last? Is it until you retire, and does it reset if it doesn't last until retirement?
So the company's loss of license lasts 5 years after probation or half the time you've been with Southwest. So if you have a captain that's been here 20 years, his loss of license will go for 10 years. And then in which long-term disability will kick in until the pilot is 65 years of age.
And there is one caveat to that. If a pilot is approved for Social Security disability, then loss of license will actually carry them till 65 as well.
Thank you for that. Okay. And for those of us on medical leave, will we be granted a medical exemption? Obviously, we each have serious medical condition that we are unable to currently hold an FAA medical certificate. So if any of us do get clearance from the FAA to retest and be granted our medical license, will the exemption stay in place to keep us from being potentially forced back into medical leave against our will?
We have asked the Southwest Airlines accommodation team how a medical leave of absence affects the vaccine mandate, and we have not got a response. Whether you need to put in that medical accommodation now by their deadline or by when you come back from your medical leave of absence. So when we get an answer to that, I'm sure the union will put that out.
Okay, when do I choose tax-free LOL? Is that now?
You actually choose tax-free LOL during Southwest Open Medical Enrollment starting 21 October through, I believe it's 3 November.
And another question came up, can Top Hat be suspended if you're on short-term disability?
That is a 401k question that I would suggest you calling Mike Haynes and swap and asking that question. I don't know that answer.
Okay. What are my benefits if I retire versus if I get fired?
So if you get fired, I would contact contract admin and go over all of those pieces with them. But if you're looking to retire, SWAPA has a retirement checklist on our website on the benefit tab that you can look through. And then Southwest Airlines also has a retirement checklist on Work Perks that both of those checklists are worth going through both of them to look at the type of benefits you have. And it depends on your longevity and all of that. So I'd read through both of those if that's the avenue that you're looking at.
Okay, Tony and Brent, I have one question I have for you guys that comes up regularly is what are the mental health claims for LOL and LTD? Are those the same duration as the regular claims?
So if a pilot goes out on a drug, alcohol, or mental disability, it's short-term disability A or B pays just like it would on any other disability, but then loss of license and long-term disability both pay for a maximum of 18 months. There's a difference there though. For the company's loss of license plan, it's a lifetime of 18 months, meaning that you can't do it over and over and over again. But for long-term disability, if a pilot like had a relapse or something or went back out, then they could use that 18 months again for long-term disability.
So how is vacation used while out on medical?
So specifically, we'll just say it this way. If you have short-term disability plan A, vacation itself. If you're out on medical and you have vacation coming up and you know you're still going to remain out on medical, you can actually bid on your vacation, have everything drop so that way you can maximize your vacation pay. You just work that through your chief pilots.
So if you have vacation, you're out on disability, and you go to bid, you're gonna have a window pop up on CWA, and that window is gonna say, hey, we have you listed as a paper bidder. Don't continue unless you have vacation. And if you have vacation, you should go in there and max pay the vacation just like you would if you were flying the line. You'll get awarded the vacation and the vacation overlap, but you won't get awarded the actual line. So instead of getting the 2625, you can get 40 or 50, whatever you can get out of a vacation week.
Thank you. So one question we just got is, can you explain how LTD pays while you are on LOL?
So the answer is that depends. So loss of license starts after your last day pay. The company figures your last day pay by looking at the amount of sick time you have when you first go out on disability, divide that by 95, and that's considered your last day pay. So if you have less than 600 sick trips, then loss of license last day pay is obviously at the 6-month point. So it starts paying you 60% of your pre-disability earning, and then long-term disability will pay you a minimum of $2,000 or $1,000, but up to $13,500 as 67% of your pre-disability earning. So if you have 1,000 sick trips, your last day pay is going to be 10.5 months after your date of disability. So the 7th month mark, long-term disability is going to pay you 67% of your pre-disability earning until long-term disability kicks in, which at that time, long-term disabilities or loss of license is going to kick in. Loss of license will pay you 60% of your pre-disability earning, and then long-term disability will drop down to either the minimum benefit or whatever takes you to the 67% of your pre-disability earning.
So another question, actually, if you guys could you hit on just the high level changes to this year's open enrollment, just the differences in the premiums versus the payout for short-term disability and long-term disability?
Absolutely. Short-term disability currently this year is $13.63 and 64 cents per week max, 60% of your pre-disability earnings. It raises next year to a max of $1,500 a week tax-free. The premium currently, the premiums for next year for Plan A will be $106.21. For Plan B will be $67.74 a month. The minimum benefit for short-term disability will still be $250 per week. That's for short-term disability. As for long-term disability, currently the maximum is $12,500 a month, which is 67% of your pre-disability earnings. Next year in 2022, it'll raise to $13,500 a month. It still is, well, it went up a little bit, $1.46 per $100 to a max of $295.64 a month for long-term disability.
Thank you for that, for the overview there, Tony. So one of the questions we just got was, what does the VEBA do?
So if you look at your paycheck, every single one of our pilots, that's part of SWAPA, which is all of us, we pay $15 a month into VEBA a month. And what that does is it helps pay for pilots that are out on disability for their medical. So if you went out on medical and you stayed out for a while, 120 days after your last day pay, the company actually makes you go to COBRA. And so the pilot actually has to pay those COBRA premiums, which are between $1,100 and $1,600 a month. And then SWAPA reimburses the pilots for those premiums through the VEBA. So if a pilot were to remain out even longer than that, and they go back to the Southwest Airlines supplemental plan and then come back to the SWAPA total disability medical and dental plan, those premiums until that pilot turns 65 for him or her dependents as well are paid for by the VEBA. So it's a benevolent fund to help pilots that go out on disability for a long time.
Awesome, thanks guys. The last question that we just got was, our CVS sucks. Can I get approval to use the pharmacy we used for years until this year?
If you go, so CVS just opened up a new string of pharmacies that they released a list of, and those should be on SWA Life Work Perks, and we'll download them and put them on the SWAPA website as well. But if you have problems with CVS, then obviously, and they're specific, send them to Tony and I, and we can help work those through Carrie Hunt or the SWA benefit manager to help you out.
Okay. If I have 400 sick trips, which STD plan should I have?
So I would not recommend which one. I would just tell you the differences if I have 400 sick trips. If I have Plan A, my short-term disability will start no matter what after the 30-day elimination period. So for the first month, you can use 105 sick trips, in which you'll have roughly 300 trips left. You can then use 47.5 minimum to 105 maximum sick trips on top of each month of short-term disability. If you have Plan B, you're going to burn 400 sick trips over a 4-month period, in which your short-term disability would not even start until month 5, after you've exhausted your sick bank. So if that helps you, I can't necessarily say I recommend one. I would just say there's the big difference. Gives you a little bit more flexibility on Plan A if you have a larger sick bank.
And any pilot that has over 100 or 200 sick trips should really think about how they want to manage that sick bank if they were to go out on disability. If they want the flexibility to manage that sick time, so they might have someone they come back, or extend it longer so that they still receive NEC and get credit for profit sharing and accrue vacation for the following year, they should look at short-term disability plan A. If they don't care about exhausting their sick time, then obviously plan B might work for them as well.
Okay, our next question is, if you know you will be out over the next year, can you wait to file for STD in 2022 to get the better rates?
Everything that happens off of a disability is off of your data disability, and the benefits trigger off of that. So if you got hurt, sick, or injured today, but delayed filing that till January of 2022, everything would be off of your data disability, which is today, which is the current plans that we have.
Okay, this actually came in from a pilot. My doctor prescribed a new medicine. Who do I reach out to regarding when I can start flying?
So I would recommend you calling AMAS, our air medical doctors out in Denver, and ask them that question. And they'll probably ask you what the medication is and what the dosage is and how often you take it. And if you just want to look on their website to get an idea on what they might tell you, you can look on the AMAS medication database and type all that information in, and it'll give you an idea. But I would still call them to confirm.
Okay, our next question is, on STD Plan B, are you required to take the 95 trips each month, or can you set a different rate?
You can set whatever rate you want, anywhere between 47.5 and 105. It doesn't matter which STD plan you are on. You can still manage that how you want.
Fantastic. Okay, I do not see any other questions. I'll give the listeners just a minute or two or a second or two to put something else up, and if they don't have anything, we can just go ahead and end the session. Do you guys have any other last minute tips or ideas or suggestions that you want to put out to the membership in regards to open enrollment?
I would say that if you are not looking to make any changes to your short-term or long-term disability plans, you do not need to do anything. So all the emails you get, the mail you get in the mailbox, and the blasts we're sending out to remind you, you don't need to do anything with them. Everything you had this year will roll over to next year, and you'll see those changes on your January 5th and January 20th paychecks. If you do make changes, obviously make sure you write exactly what you want on the front page, sign the back page of the enrollment form, and email it to the email address at the bottom of the first page. And if you got any questions, obviously the swap of benefit team is standing by to help you out.
We just got a couple more questions. One is, how many sick trips should I have?
That's a fantastic question. As many as you possibly can put in your bank is what I would recommend. And that gives you the flexibility throughout financially or how you want to come back. I mean, the majority of our claims are shorter claims. They're not 5-10 year claims. So I would argue that, you know, the chance of having a shoulder surgery or a knee replacement or whatever it is, you'll be back to the flight line within 6 months. And if you have 1,000 or 1,200 sick trips, you'd return to the flight line with about 600 sick trips. That way you're not coming back to zero. So as many as you possibly can put in your bank is what I would say.
We also just got this question. I heard SWAPA has somebody that fixes medical bills. Could you give us some details on that?
I don't know if you could say they fix medical bills, but they certainly will help you with your medical claims. So that's Carrie Hunt. She works for a company called Resolute Healthcare. Her information is on the SWAPA website on the benefit tab. And if you go to the doctor and you have some claims that don't look correct on your explanation of benefits, then certainly reach out to her after you talk to the doctor's office and make sure it was filed correctly, and she can help you through it. If you or anyone in your family is having a big surgery, I would recommend even calling her beforehand and making sure that all your ducks are in a row before the surgery, so you're not surprised after the surgery. And if something looks wrong afterwards, obviously then reach back out to her. We pay her through our swap-a-doos and actually through the VIVA as well. So it's all pilot money helping each other out.
Okay, we just got this one. How does vacation accrual work while you're out on disability?
So that was part of Tony's point on you should have as much sick time as you possibly can, because if you go out on a medical and you have vacation and you're burning it, say at 47.5 trips a month, you're still accruing vacation for the following year. So if you're at 4 or 5 weeks, you need to have almost 11 or 12 months of either working or burning sick time in them to accrue those vacations for the following year. And obviously, as you're burning that vacation as well, you're earning NEC. Those months are counting as profit sharing if you worked almost half the year. So there's a lot of benefits to that.
Okay, and I think that's it as far as our questions, but I will ask you guys to once again remind the membership what is the closing date for open enrollment. We're currently open, but when does it close?
The closing date for open enrollment is 15 October, which is next Friday.
Fantastic.
And of course, any pilot feel free to give us a call and go over any personal. I mean, everybody's different in where they're at in the company, whether you're a senior captain and you have thoughts about LTD or misnomers about STD to a new FO with a low sick bank. Feel free to give us a call at any time and we can run over your scenario.
So thank you guys for taking the time to do these questions today. And I just want to remind everybody that we will go ahead and publish this on the SWAPA website so that everybody can see the questions who may not have been able to attend. But thank you guys for taking the time, and we'll call the call to a close.
Thanks, y'all. Have a good one. Thanks, Amy.
Yeah, thank you.